Hi, my name is Dr. Emma, and I'm going to talk you through 5 top study tips that I have accumulated over the years because I've definitely sat my fair share of exams. So just going to share a few study tips because I know it's exam season, I know you're working really, really hard, so I just want to make sure that you get the maximum yield from all the hard work you're doing. Study tip number 1. It sounds really simple, sounds quite elementary, but my first study tip is just to know your learning style. So I know you've heard this before, teachers talk about it all the time, but the reason I say that is I meet a lot of students and when I ask them what they're doing for revision, they say, I'm making notes, and I ask them the next day, I'm making notes, and I feel like people spend months making notes with the hope of reading them later, but notes are not the only way to study a thing. The reason I say that as well is that even if you think you're a notes person, there are some things that are actually learned better in other methods. So for example, a lot of things in science are like diagrams and processes. I think that these are much better learned by watching a YouTube video, to be honest. You spend hours and hours making notes when actually you could watch a few videos and it will be much easier to understand. And then once you've watched a video, you can then, scribble, make your own diagrams, make your own flowcharts. I think that that's personally a better way to learn something like the Krebs cycle, for example, because you just need to learn lots of words and lots of processes. I think it's much better to watch a few videos, make some diagrams, than to spend hours and hours making notes. The other problem I think with making notes is people think that the notes need to be perfect. So I see people, making notes with different color pens and like trying to make them perfect. You're not making a textbook. It doesn't need to be perfect. So all that time that you spent making notes, don't get me wrong, I was a notes person as well when I was a student. So there are some things that are great to learn by making notes, but I think that we should probably open our minds to other methods like videos, diagrams, even acting. You might just want to do a role play with a friend, that kind of thing. There are lots of different ways to learn. It's not about making notes, and you need to know what works best for you. Are you someone that likes to do questions? Are you someone that likes to listen to things? So you've got podcasts. There are so many different ways to learn. Just make sure that you open up your mind and consider all the different methods that are available. Study tip number 2, I would say be organized. But in that organization, you need to be realistic. So a lot of this, when I ask my mentees, it's coming up to exam season, I'll always ask my mentees, send me your revision timetable. And these people will send me the most detailed revision timetable, and it starts at 8 a.m. and finishes at 2 a.m. And I'm like, sis, I know you love your course, I know you're passionate about doing well, but you can't revise for 18 hours a day. It's just not realistic. So, and the problem with that is that when you fall behind one day because you didn't factor in breaks, you didn't factor in the fact that you would get tired, that you're a human being, what happens is the next day you're behind, and then you get more discouraged, and then you find yourself, always trying to catch up, always trying to make up for what you couldn't do the day before. So I would definitely say be realistic, make a timetable, be very organized, know what you're meant to be studying at each time, but put breaks in there. If you need an hour-long lunch break, put that in your revision timetable. Don't pretend you're going to eat for 10 minutes. It's just not true. You need a break. You need to breathe. You need to watch something stupid on YouTube. You need to, do something that's just going to shake it up a bit. So definitely schedule in breaks in your revision schedule and take it easy on yourself. The other reason it's important to scheduling these breaks is that it then gives you something to look forward to. So let's say, you want to do 50 questions. I'll do these 50 questions and I've got a break, and it makes it so much easier than just trying to plan like back-to-back 18-hour revision days. It's not going to work. If you're lucky, you'll be able to do it for 1 or 2 days, but by day 3, I'm almost certain you're going to be tired. Correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, drop a comment in the box. Say, Dr. Emma, you're chatting rubbish. I study for 18 hours a day, and I'll definitely clap for you. But the majority of people can't do that. So take it easy on yourself. I see a lot of students, trying to almost beat themselves up during exam season. It's not meant to be like that. You just need to learn. There is enough time to learn what you need to learn. So just take it easy. And that's obviously if you start early. So be someone that starts early. Study tip number 3, which is a bit similar to number 2. I would say make sure that you have some things planned that you are looking forward to. So that might just be like, in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to go out to lunch with a friend, that sort of thing. These things I think should definitely be part of your revision plan because, like I just said, everyone needs a break. Everyone needs something to look forward to. So plan nice things that, you know, can sort of give you that little urge, that spur. You know, it might be that you're working late on a Sunday night, but you know that the following day you're going to have a break and go shopping with a friend or something. These things should be part of your revision timetable, because everyone is human and everyone needs things to look forward to. Study tip number 4, I would say, as much as possible, arrange a workspace that is conducive to learning. So I personally can't study in an area that's really messy. I feel like having a cluttered space encourages my mind to be cluttered. So I used to take a lot of pride in setting out my desk, making sure that you know, things are in order. I lay out the books that I want, the pens that I'm going to use, the highlighters, etc. Not, you know, it doesn't have to be, you know, over the top. You don't have to line up your pens or anything like that. But just, you know, have things set out neatly, have a workspace that you're proud of. And even if that's going to the library, you know, when you go to choose your seat in the library, you know, put things, arrange them nicely. You don't just scatter your books and your papers everywhere, because I feel like that environment isn't conducive to learning. I think the difference between revising on your own and being in school is that, you know, you're on your own. No one's going to be able to stop you from scrolling through Instagram for an hour if you're sitting on your own. So definitely you want to maximize your chances of learning. So I would definitely say have a neat and tidy workspace. If you work in your room, if you've got a desk, put some cute things up. You can put up a couple of pictures, a few motivational quotes, anything that's going to help you. So I would say take pride in your workspace as much as possible. Study tip number 5, I think, is one that people sleep on. One of my favorite things about studying would be to then meet up with a friend. So let's say I've spent a day learning a topic. I would then meet up with a friend and then teach my friend what I'd been learning. This is so good, because I always say that I believe that you don't truly know something unless you're able to teach it to someone else. And obviously you can try and teach it to your mum, but you know, your mum's going to say well done regardless, unless your mum is obviously an expert in what you're trying to study or has studied it before. But try and meet up with a friend, and of course this doesn't have to be face to face. This can be FaceTime, it can be Zoom, it can be over the phone, whatever. But when you learn something, try and teach it to someone else, and hopefully they will ask you questions, and then you will prove to yourself that you understood that topic in depth. So like I always say, I don't believe that anybody knows a subject unless they can teach it to someone else. So I definitely think that that is a really top study tip. Learn something, teach it to someone else, and you'll be surprised how much it sticks as well, because in the exam, if it comes up, you'll remember that your friend asked you that question and that you answered it, and you know, it will definitely stick in your head if you've been able to teach it to someone else. So I would say that that is a really top study tip that is often slept on. So I hope that these tips have been helpful. You're going to do amazing. The fact that you've watched this video means that you care. So yeah, you're going to do great. Have an amazing time learning how to do your exams. Study time and exams is a chance to show yourself, to prove and to show the world what you've been doing the whole year. So don't look down on it. Back yourself. You're going to be amazing. And make sure you check out the rest of the videos. Like, share and subscribe. Just an extra tip as well, on the actual day of the exam or even the night before the exam, I think it's really important to just chill out. So you need to set, the problem with exams is you can always feel like, oh, there's something I haven't read, there's something I can know better. So I used to set myself a strict bedtime. So it might be by 10 p.m. I'm not reading anymore. Doesn't matter what I haven't read. Really, if I haven't read it up until now, it's probably not going to make a big difference. And that's assuming you've been serious about your study time, by the way. If you've left it to the last minute, I'm not talking to you. But if you know that you've been serious, you've been consistent, you've been studying for however many weeks or months, when it comes to the night before, I always used to set myself a bedtime, and I'd be quite strict about it. I'd make sure I get a good night's sleep. I wake up, and that morning I'm going to have a good breakfast. I'm going to just relax as much as possible. I often turn off my phone the morning before an exam, because I don't want anybody, you know, trying to tell me things. Oh, did you read this? Oh, did you know that this was going to come up? I very much dislike things like that. People trying to project, you know, negative energy on me before an exam. So I usually turn off my phone the morning of an exam, and then just try and just make sure I have as much of a relaxed time as possible in the time leading up to the exam. The day of the exam is not the day to stress. So you want to be as calm as possible, collected, because if you cloud your brain and your mind with all these other anxious thoughts, you're not going to be able to bring out everything that you've learned. We've all had that, where you go into an exam you're asked a question and you're sure you know the answer, but there's so much going in your head that you can't even find the information, even though you know it's in your brain somewhere. So definitely try and get a good night's sleep. Sleep helps your thoughts to consolidate. So let what you've learned consolidate overnight, wake up in the morning, have a good breakfast, and have a relaxing time. If it was possible, I used to try and walk to my exams. So obviously a lot of students live reasonably close, hopefully, to where their exams are taking place. But I know a lot of exams are happening online at the moment, so that might not be the case. But if you can, walk to your exam, or maybe take a walk in the morning and go in with a clear head and just be calm, and it will all be fine. Okay, so that's it for my top study tips. Thank you for watching. I hope that they've been helpful. You are going to do amazing. The fact that you've watched this video to the end proves that you're serious about your studies. I'm sure you're going to do great. Back yourself. Know that you were born to do this. You are going to do well in everything that you do. I believe in you, so believe in yourself. You're going to do great. Have an amazing time. Make sure you check out some of our other videos. Like, share, and subscribe. And thank you very much.